Conor McGregor, master of destruction. No one has a chance. He gets everybody. There's an argument that he's the GOAT. There's an argument that Mighty Mouse is the greatest expression of martial arts in the history of combat sports. I would make that argument.
See you. Max, what are your thoughts on a guy like Conor being out for 5 years, having that brutal injury, while the entire time you've been very active?
About me,
There
he
it
said.
is. Mr. Confidence returns. I mean, he's the most dynamic personality the sport's ever known.
And he was,
He was in the matrix. He was just in the zone. You know, Dana said it best. He's like, that kid eats pressure. He goes, he eats it.
Yeah.
Like, he thrives on pressure. Pressure that makes other people wilt.
Yes.
He, like, shines under that pressure.
And he.
And by the way, everyone from Ireland came to Vegas for that fight. It was the nuttiest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. The entire Mandalay Bay was overcome with to save fighting again. Call your grandma, nanny, we did it. Watch and pay me. Fuck you, pay me. You fat Irish prick. You don't have my money. I put your brain to sleep. Who's that? What's that about? Who's he talking about? C is in the casinos after the Mac loves yous all. I got love for yous. It's an it's an honor. It's light work. It's easy. For life and eternity, it's McGregor. How drunk was he when he wrote this? I do this fight game easy peasy. The sound of my shots off the head go bing in green dot laser form. Okay. Well, I really hope he is actually back.
He had an amazing ability, even very early in his career, which was like kind of, it was really unique. Like, because even like on his first fight ever, if you watch his first fight in the UFC against like Brimage, I think the guy's name is, and he was a relatively unknown at the time. But dude, the place is going nuts. He already had made so much kind of like street cred for himself, and then the Irish thing, like the Irish were really, really into it. But he, from the very first fight, he would always create these moments where it's like, dude, this is going to be the biggest spectacle that you, my opponent, has ever been in their career. Like, I'm going to get you mad with shit talking. I'm going to get the fans so excited. Because he's completely comfortable there.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure if you're really comfortable here, but and so it would, and even with Aldo, who had been the entire division, he literally, when they started the division, they started him as champion. He didn't even win it. He came in because they absolved.
I expected Max, because I'm coming in fast. I tell you this, how are you doing after your 5-round fight with Oliveira? I thought some of the shots went to the back of the head. You had an opportunity to repay the favor you didn't take. I was disappointed in the result and the outcome of the bout and the shape the bout took. But how's the body? How are you feeling?
What it is, bro.
How's Hawaii?
I'm good.
I look forward to seeing you again in Las
great.
Vegas.
Hawaii's great, brother. Hawaii's great. I can't wait to see you in the Ninth Island, brother. How's Dublin? I heard you're sleeping in the gym, so that's great to hear, man. We're glad to have you back. I can't wait to get in there and mix it up, bro. We're gonna make some records.
I felt like they could have done announcement with Conor and Holloway at the White House. I feel like that would have went really well for them. I think that would have been cool. I was also thinking about this on the drive-in. One of the reasons, many of reasons, they didn't put Conor on the White House card. Number one is the ticket sales, right? You can tell he's a big draw. Number two is, can you imagine the backlash that the left, CNN would have ran with if Conor, with his accusations in Dublin, going through, you know, the grape stuff and all that?
That's interesting.
I bet you that had a hand in it, where they're like, hey, this is the White House. We're already getting a ton of shit for it. Do we really want Conor's comeback fight after going through all those legal issues in Dublin being at the forefront of this? And the ticket sales, they're like, it's just a lose-lose. I bet you that had something to do with it. They didn't want that negative attention stealing the storylines.
Another view on this topic was offered by YouTube commentator Brian Davis, who asked about the reasons behind the...
For years, the combat sports world has been waiting for a ghost to step back into the spotlight, ever since the devastating leg break that brought the biggest star in MMA to a terrifying halt. People thought the story of the double champ was finally over. The multimillionaire had nothing left to prove. unlimited wealth, and every reason to walk away from the grueling violence of the cage. Yet, the whispers never truly stopped. Cryptic social media posts, sudden training footage, and bold declarations kept the fire burning in the background. Now, the absolute unthinkable is happening. The man who confidently declared, "Mr. Confidence returns," is stepping back into the fire. But the fighter walking into the octagon against Max Holloway is not the same hungry prospect we saw a decade ago. He is stepping into a deeply calculated war, carrying the weight of severe outside-the-cage controversies, intense contract battles, and a legacy that is suddenly hanging by a thread. This isn't just a comeback fight. It is a desperate gamble to reclaim a throne that many believe has already crumbled to dust. To understand the gravity of this return, you have to look at the massive shadow cast by his own past. There was a time when this man wasn't just a fighter. He was a glitch in the system. Joe Rogan perfectly described his legendary championship run as watching someone operate inside the Matrix. From sleeping a completely terrified Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds to delivering a flawless, untouchable masterclass against Eddie Alvarez, he thrived on a level of pressure that literally made other world champions wilt. But when the injuries mounted and the activity vanished, the aura of invincibility was replaced by a chaotic, unpredictable lifestyle. Logan Paul recently shared a bizarre story that perfectly captures this turbulent era. While attending an inauguration event in Washington, D.C. at 8 o'clock in the morning, Paul's group ran into the fighting icon. The energy he gave off wasn't just confident, it was entirely erratic. Paul noted that the entire group came to a unanimous consensus. The Irishman was definitely operating under the heavy influence of something. It left the world wondering if the discipline required to survive inside the cage had been permanently replaced by the dangerous comforts of extreme fame. But behind his wild public persona, a much darker political game was keeping him sidelined.
Conversation and a very difficult scheduling for Conor McGregor. They know that they want to put him on a massive card. They want to make sure that they get the most value out of Conor because they're going to pay him a shit ton of money, so they need to get value out of him. And they want to make sure that they can either try to renegotiate with him to keep him under contract, or maybe they don't work as hard to put Conor in a fight if he's not being as receptive to renegotiations or receptive to, whatever the number is they want to give him for a fight. There's always some kind of negotiation issue. There's always some kind, because Conor is, as he said, Abriel, they said I was toast, but I'm still the bread, mate. It's true. He is the cash cow moneymaker, even still today, 11 years later after winning his first title. That says something. And it's why he hasn't been able to fight, because they want to be very selective, and they're going to iron out every little contingency in his contracts before they get him a fight. It's ridiculous, but it's the way the UFC works. And Zuffa Boxing, you better get ready.
The stage is officially set for one of the most defining moments in the history of mixed martial arts. Will the Ultimate Showman miraculously turn back the clock, utilize his massive size advantage, and remind the world exactly why he is the most notorious fighter to ever live? Or will the brutal, unforgiving reality of age, ring rust, and outside distractions finally close the book on a legendary career? The truth will finally be revealed when the cage door locks. Let me know exactly how you see this historic clash playing out in the comments down below. Does he still have that heavy left hand? Or is the blessed era going to silence him for good? Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. A victory over Max Holloway doesn't just silence the critics. It instantly activates one of the most violent master plans in UFC history. Industry insiders are already looking past this matchup, pointing directly at the human highlight reel himself, Justin Gaethje. If the returning star can spectacularly put Holloway away, his stock will instantly explode, perfectly setting the stage for a blockbuster showdown with Gaethje. That is the kind of matchup that shuts down the entire sporting world. It's a guaranteed bloodbath that would fast-track the winner directly into an undisputed title shot. The UFC has perfectly laid out the dominoes for one final, historic championship run. Every single piece of this puzzle, from the strategic weight class to the delayed timeline, has been orchestrated to create the biggest spectacle imaginable. For Michael Bisping, this fight is the absolute turning point for a legacy that is dangerously close to being rewritten by critics. We are looking at a man approaching his 39th birthday, stepping into the cage against an incredibly... This isn't about the money anymore. He already has more than he could spend in 3 lifetimes. This is a desperate, passionate bid to prove to himself in the world that the fighter who conquered 2 divisions still exists somewhere deep inside. And if he actually manages to summon that ghost, the UFC is ready to unleash complete chaos. The real war over the last 2 years wasn't fought on the training mats. It was fought in closed-door boardrooms. Commentators and analysts have pointed out that this extensive layoff had very little to do with lingering injuries and everything to do with raw, uncut leverage. The UFC knows exactly what they have in their hands. They possess the single biggest cash cow in the history of combat sports, and they refuse to waste a single drop of his value without locking down their own future. Stalling his return was a deeply calculated business tactic. The promotion wanted to ensure every single contingency of his contract was ironed out in their favor before letting him walk to the octagon. They dragged their feet, weaponizing his inactivity to force favorable renegotiations. It is a brutal reality of the fight business. You can be the biggest star on the planet, but if the executives want to squeeze you for every dime of value, they will happily let you ride on the sidelines until you sign on the dotted line. But now that the ink is finally dry, the ultimate question of motivation remains. The days of starving himself to hit a lightweight limit are completely dead and gone. This highly anticipated rematch is officially taking place at 170 pounds, and that single detail entirely flips the script on how this fight will play out. Paddy Pimblett recently broke down the sheer genius behind this move to welterweight. When you look at Max Holloway, you see a fighter who relies on an twitch reflexes fully intact. However, securing this massive physical advantage was only half the battle. There's a massive unspoken reason why this monumental return was delayed for so long, and it goes far beyond simple physical recovery. According to industry insiders like Brendan Schaub, the UFC actively shielded their biggest star from one of the most high-profile events in recent history. When the promotion was organizing an elite, highly publicized card near the White House, the absolute perfect main event would have been this highly anticipated return. Instead, they kept him completely hidden in the shadows. The reason? A storm of severe personal allegations and legal issues quietly brewing back in Dublin. The UFC brass knew that putting their most notorious athlete on a heavily scrutinized political stage would be an absolute disaster. The fear of a massive media backlash from major news networks digging into his offshore legal troubles forced the promotion to ice their biggest asset. It was a lose-lose situation for the executives, proving that the battles outside the cage had become far more dangerous than the ones inside it. Yet, while the front office scrambled to control the PR nightmare, an entirely different kind of transformation was happening in the gym.
I ran into Conor McGregor actually here in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you did?
At the inauguration.
Yeah.
And we were talking about fighting at that time, and he was just still such a character in real life. He's not playing a character.
He's not.
He was definitely on something. It was 8 a.m. He was on something. The group I was with, we all agreed. We took a general vote, a consensus. The consensus was he was on something.
But he's so funny.
Well, I like it as well.
And say, this is what it should be. Instead of fighting and cutting him. You know, let's do it properly.
Is this a one-off fight, or are you back?
Was for a time there just such an unbelievable fighter. I mean, he was it was incredible what he was doing.
Danny Alvarez.
McGregor sucks. Conor McGregor is fucking elite. He is genuinely one of the greatest featherweights of all time. He is genuinely one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. You do not accidentally beat Jose Aldo by 13-second step back pull counter left hand. You don't run through Chad Mendez, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, Cowboy Cerrone, Nate Diaz, as if they're the fucking Brooklyn Brawler, bro. Like, this dude is genuinely one of the best strikers to ever step foot in the cage. He gave Khabib his hardest fight 110%. People bring up Gaethje. Joe Rogan brings up Iaquinta because he survived the longest. That's like saying Josh Emmett gave Ilia Topuria his hardest challenge in a win. It's just not true. Just because he went the longest doesn't mean he did the best. Conor McGregor did the best against Khabib Nurmagomedov, 110%. 100%. The most dominant fighter ever. Conor McGregor was his toughest fight, and he was coming off a massive layoff. He's done this before. He's come off massive layoffs and looked decent before. He fought extremely well against Dustin Poirier in his absolute peak, coming off another huge
pounds for the BMF. I didn't think there's anything BMF about it. He was the baddest man in a sauna. So I'm a big boy now. 170 pounds is my frame. And I like it. I thought I'd give a gift.
That person doesn't exist. I mean, to be fair to Conor McGregor, there is only one Conor McGregor, and it's not a character.
McGregor stand in the comments and
I know. Look the way he's talking, bro. He's fired up. I'm fired up. I can't wait to see him July 11th.
Expected, Max, because I'm coming in fast. I tell you this, how are you doing after your 5-round fight with Oliveira? I thought some of the shots went to the back of the head. You had an opportunity to repay the favor you didn't take. I was disappointed in the result and the outcome of the bout and the shape the bout took. But how's the body? How are you feeling?
What it is, bro.
How's Hawaii?
I'm good.
I look forward to seeing you again in Las
great.
Vegas.
Hawaii's great, brother. Hawaii's great. I can't wait to see you in the 9th Island, brother. How's Dublin? I heard you're sleeping in the gym, so that's great to hear, man. We're glad to have you back. I can't wait to get in there and mix it up.
Doesn't give a fuck. Besides yourself, who's someone in the WWE that would resemble a Conor McGregor?
He's amazing. He's amazing. But like, you know, if he comes back in the UFC, I fear he's had so much time off. He could.
That was one punch that was perfectly timed, incredible. But when he became double champ against Eddie Alvarez, that was a masterclass performance, okay? And then on the microphone saying, I'm going to apologize to absolutely nobody, standing there with the 2 belts on, the first person to ever do it.
Obviously, he's going up against Max Holloway in a great fight. How do you see that matchup between those two?
Personally, I think because it's at welterweight, I see Conor knocking him out. Like, everyone's counting Conor out and thinks that Max is going to win. If it goes to the later rounds, yeah, Max definitely probably start piecing him up on the feet because he's got that cardio and the volume. But the fact that it's at welterweight, I think, favours Conor because Charles made Max look small at lightweight. So imagine how big Conor's going to look compared to him at welterweight.
I felt like they could have done announcement with Conor and Holloway at the White House. I feel like that would have went really well for them. I think that would have been cool. I was also thinking about this on the drive-in. One of the reasons, many of reasons, they didn't put Conor on the White House card. Number one is the ticket sales, right? You can tell he's a big draw. Number two is, can you imagine the backlash that the left, CNN would have ran with if Conor, with his accusations in Dublin, going through, you know, the grape stuff and all that?
That's interesting.
I bet you that had a hand in it where they're like, hey, this is the White House. We're already getting a ton of shit for it. Do we really want Conor's comeback fight after going through all those legal issues in Dublin being at the forefront of this? And the ticket sales, they're like, it's just a lose-lose. I bet you that had something to do with it. They didn't want that negative attention stealing the storylines.